this man, Patrick Riley, make a move at the deadline? It's been a while since he finally made a trade. Is he going to be napping, or is he going to actually make a deal? Today we discuss all of the latest Miami Heat trade rumors regarding Kyle Lowry, Dejounte Murray, Collin Sexton, and Quentin Grimes, so stay tuned for that. But first, my boss has kind of floated out the idea that we could actually do a live show for the NBA trade deadline at the Heat Report, but we have to get 200 likes on this show for it to even be considered. So do us a favor. I want to hang out with y'all on NBA trade deadline day, so hit that like button right now. All right, let's get into it because let's be honest here, the Heat need to make a move. Kyle Lowry, we thank you for your service over the last 2.5 years, but you got to go, man. 3 years, $90 million contract signed a couple off seasons ago. It's technically worked out, as in the 2 full seasons Lowry's been with the Heat, Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 loss, and you make the NBA Finals. But the fact of the matter is he's just not helping this team anymore. This season, through 35 games, his stats have been, well, what do the kids say? Mid. 8.5 points per game, 4 assists. The three-point shooting, raw numbers are good, but the truth is that he doesn't provide anything on offense outside of the three. He's not athletic enough to drive by defenders anymore. He's too small to get inside and really do anything against taller players. He can hit that little 12-foot maybe fadeaway mid-range, but that's not a consistent shot that's going to fall. And if it's not a catch-and-shoot three, Kyle Lowry, well, he's not really that good on offense and doesn't provide any value. And then you look at the defensive side. And no offense, Lowry was a fantastic defender. I still consider him a good team defender in terms of rotations, stepping up, using his body the correct way, Heat culture, taking a charge, no matter who's coming down the lane, whether it be Giannis or Trae Young. He will put his body on the line to draw a charge. I respect that. But in one-on-one situations, point of attack defense, he is a traffic cone against other guards. And we just saw on Wednesday night against the Toronto Raptors. They absolutely abused Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry off the dribble. Quickly, Barrett, and Gary Trent Jr., even Dennis Schroeder were just driving right by our guards. We couldn't stand a chance. It put our defense in crazy rotations, allowing them to go 12 of 14 from 3 to start the game, and we were down 41-18 after the first quarter. Lowry and Hero, I just don't think they're a good pair defensively. And honestly, when Kyle's not providing the offense that we expect him to, which, listen, he's 37, you can't expect too much. I think you got to move off him. And that $29.7 million expiring salary is a perfect asset to go upgrade that point guard position. So what say you? Do the Heat need to trade Kyle Lowry? It's today's pinned comment. I want to hear what y'all have to say. So if you get hit with a YouTube ad break, let it play, scroll down in the comment section, and vote Y for yes or N for no. Now, I did want to talk about this because Bovada, the sportsbook account, did come out today with Kyle Lowry next team odds after the NBA trade deadline, and I found the list very fascinating. Number 1 was the Atlanta Hawks at plus 260, Jazz plus 300, Wizards 300, Cavs plus 300, and the Knicks at plus 700. We'll talk about some of those other ones in a second, but I wanted to start off with the first team with the best odds technically, and that is the Atlanta Hawks, because that is only telling me that the Heat are the number 1 team in the odds makers' eyes to trade for Dejounte Murray, because there is no world where the Atlanta Hawks take on Kyle Lowry's expiring deal just for fun. And they don't really have anyone to send to Miami for that outside of Dejounte Murray. So that only makes the most sense. And Murray has been damn terrific this season for the Atlanta Hawks. 21 a night, 4.9 assists, 4.8 rebounds, at least as of filming. He could play a game tonight. We're filming this on Thursday. I'm not sure if they do play tonight. And he's improved his efficiency, especially beyond the arc. This is a career year from him beyond the arc at 38.3%. And on Wednesday evening, well, he hit a buzzer-beater mid-range shot against the Orlando Magic. He is clutch. He fits this team perfectly at the point guard spot. He can defend. That point-of-attack defense at the guard position is something I really have my eyes on for. Murray can do it at an exceptional level. He fits next to Tyler Hero perfectly. And guess what? Jimmy Butler has respect for Dejounte Murray as well. He is a Heat culture guy. I would love Dejounte in the 305. So what would a deal look like? I think this would be the exact deal. The Heat get Dejounte Murray and Patty Mills. Little backup point guard action. He probably won't play, but hey, he's got veteran experience in playoff moments, so maybe he comes off the bench if absolutely necessary and drills the three. But you give up Kyle Lowry, that expiring deal. You give up a 2027 first-round pick, and unfortunately, we have to trade our sweet prince, Nikola Jovic. Why do we have to do that? Well, the Hawks allegedly want 2 first-round picks. Maybe we only give them 1, but we say, hey, we'll give you one of our top trade assets and players in Nikola Jovic. It would break my heart, but it's for the greater good. And the reason why I think this would be the deal, by the way, is that Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype came out and said today, actually, that the Hawks are not looking to take back any salary past this season for Dejounte Murray or any trade, league sources told Hoops Hype. And I'm going to go full Windhorst. What does that mean over here? Well, guess what? Kyle Lowry, as we mentioned, his deal's up. $29.7 million. You don't have to keep on paying Dejounte Murray $30 million for the next 4 years. You get $30 million come off the books if you trade for Lowry in that deal. Oh, yeah, I think Atlanta would like that very much. I think the Heat trading for Murray, if Pat Riley really decides that's the move Miami should make and is willing to meet the price point that the Hawks set out, I think it's a match made in heaven. We'll get to more trade rumors for the Miami Heat in just a second, but shout out to Factor Meals. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the 2024 new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in 2024. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door with over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan and veggie, and more. Plus, over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Forget frantic lunch preps and rush dinners. Factor's 2-minute meals are your secret weapon in the new year. Fuel it fast with restaurant-quality meals, all delivered right to your door. They're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/NBAchat50 and use code NBAchat50 to get 50% off. That's code NBAchat50 at factormeals.com/NBAchat50 to get 50% off. That link is clickable down in the description and comments of today's video. I do want to take a look at the second team odds, or best odds, I should say, for Kyle Lowry, which was a tie amongst a couple squads, but the Utah Jazz at plus 300, and that one piqued my interest because I know exactly what that trade would be if Lowry was sent to Utah. It would be this right here. It would be Lowry's $29.7 million expiring and a 2028 first-round pick sent to Utah in exchange for Collin Sexton and Kelly Olynyk. Olynyk's got 1 year left on his deal, so he's an expiring. Sexton's got 3 years left, but at $17 million, I really like that contract for someone of Sexton's caliber. You look at what you would be getting back from those two players. We obviously know Kelly O pretty well on the Heat Nation. He was part of that 2020 bubble team that went to the NBA Finals, and in a limited role for the Jazz, he's been actually really good. 55% from the field, 42.9% from beyond the arc. We know Olynyk is a sharpshooter and a floor spacer. My only question is if this trade actually happened, is how Olynyk would fit. Would he take minutes away from Jovic, Jaquez, Haywood, Highsmith? Because we know he isn't the best defender, but he would help the Heat offense quite a bit. Examining Sexton now. He only plays about 24 minutes a night, and he puts up 16.9 points a contest. He is a downright scorer. He could fit into that point guard role. Wouldn't be the facilitator Miami is potentially looking for, but he would certainly give a boost to that offense, which has really been struggling over the last couple of games. He's also an absolute dog, will take on the challenge of guarding the opposing team's best guard, and even though he might not be the best defender, he is going to give his all every single night. He is a definition of a Heat culture guy, and his efficiencies are pretty good as well. I would love Collin Sexton coming to Miami under team control for 3 more seasons at $17 million. Yeah, sign me up. So would you accept this trade? Type A for accept, type D for decline. I think it's a fascinating one. I know you're sending out a first-round pick for not a really elite players, but these two guys would really give a boost to this rotation. This trade would remind me a lot of that deal in 2019-20 when the Heat sent some picks and Justice Winslow to the Grizzlies for Iguodala and Jay Crowder. I do want to revisit the next team odds for Kyle Lowry and just briefly touch on the Wizards and the Cavs. We've talked about the Wizards in depth quite a bit here with Tyus Jones. Maybe that would be a Tyus Jones and Daniel Gafford deal, which would give a boost to the Heat's front court and point guard position. But I don't really want to go too in-depth with that because we've talked about that in the past. Cleveland Cavaliers at plus 300. This would be a Donovan Mitchell trade, but as I've detailed throughout prior videos, if you haven't seen them, subscribe, go check them out. But I don't think Donovan Mitchell is going to be dealt in this season. The Cavs are going to ride it out, especially since they're playing well and are seemingly going to finish in the top 5 of the Eastern Conference if they continue this play. I do believe D-Mitch will be traded in the offseason, but I don't think anything would happen this season. But now I do want to talk about the New York Knicks coming in at 5th at the list at plus 700 because, well, a New York Post journalist actually kind of had some thoughts on a potential Lowry trade to the Knicks. Stefan Bondi said this: "Why does this make sense? Thibodeau loves Kyle Lowry and certainly would covet his veteran presence in the playoffs. Grimes in a Heat uniform just seems to work." Bondi, this makes no fucking sense. If I'm going to be honest, it doesn't. The proposed trade that Bondi threw out there was Kyle Lowry and Haywood Highsmith for Quentin Grimes and Evan Fournier. Listen, I like Quentin Grimes. I think he's a decent young player that actually I believe would flourish in the Heat system. He'd be able to really become the shooter and playmaker that he was ought to be in New York coming out of the Houston Cougar system. But the problem with this deal is that it just leaves Miami with a lot of holes, which we'll talk about in a second. But when you look specifically at Grimes, he's had a little bit of a down year. The three-point shooting is still up 39%, but the only issue with that is that's the only thing he takes, right? He'd be another version of Duncan Robinson, but the only problem, or I guess good thing with Quentin Grimes, is that he's actually a really good defender. We saw him play some good defense against Jimmy Butler in that second-round series last postseason. He will provide, potentially in Miami, if he was here, the same shooting that Duncan Robinson could give you, but just a little bit better defense. But the only issue I have with this potential deal is this is a lateral move. Lowry and Highsmith for Grimes and Fournier. Fournier stinks. He can't even get PT for the Knicks. Why would he get PT for the Heat? And if you're moving off Kyle Lowry's expiring deal, I'm doing it for someone who can make a massive impact for this Heat team. I'm not doing it on some reclamation project for a shooting guard. Although I think he would be really good coming off the bench for Miami as a perfect 3-and-D guard, he just isn't going to help the Heat win a title this season. And if you do trade Lowry, you better get a point guard back or someone who can handle the rock, because this would leave the Heat's point guard rotation very, very bare. You're going to trust Josh Richardson and Tyler Hero to be your main ball handlers? I don't think I like that whatsoever. As we do head out of here, make sure you do subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/@HeatReport. We are going to be live for a game tonight against the Atlanta Hawks, so make sure you join us for that, and also stay locked in for the latest trade rumors surrounding your Miami Heat.